The UK economy in 2024 is facing significant challenges, with discussions of potential economic collapse gaining momentum. A series of events, such as soaring inflation, a weak pound, and concerns about unsustainable debt levels, have caused severe strain. The UK's GDP stagnated in July 2024, raising concerns about whether the economy is heading for a new recession. This comes after a turbulent few years, with the economy technically slipping into a recession in 2023 and showing weak recovery signs since then.
Firstly, thank you for watching, and don't forget to smash that like, subscribe, and notification bell for more global finance uncovered, as we continue to work hard and around the clock to always deliver and improve on our content for you. We would greatly appreciate your additional support by you clicking the like button, notification bell, and subscribe button and joining our channel's growth.
One of the major triggers of the current economic struggles has been persistent inflation. Despite attempts by the Bank of England to control it, inflation has remained sticky, complicating the central bank's efforts to stimulate the economy through interest rate adjustments. In September 2024, inflation remained a major concern, prompting the Bank of England to hold back on further rate cuts. The UK's economic collapse concerns are compounded by its exposure to risks in the non-bank financial sector, where non-traditional lenders have grown substantially since the 2008 financial crisis. This sector, which includes hedge funds and private equity firms, is highly leveraged and faces significant instability amid tightening monetary conditions. The Bank of England has raised concerns about vulnerabilities in these non-bank financial institutions, but global coordination on reforms has been slow. Consumer confidence in the UK has been hit hard, with households facing soaring energy bills, high food prices, and rising mortgage costs. The cost of living crisis has led to reduced consumer spending, which in turn has affected retail and service sectors. Many businesses are struggling to survive under these conditions, leading to widespread job losses and increasing unemployment. Adding to the economic woes is the UK's poor productivity growth. Despite modest gains in GDP during the first half of 2024, the productivity levels remain below pre-pandemic trends, hampering long-term growth prospects. This has left the UK struggling to compete with other advanced economies, and its economic outlook remains bleak unless significant structural reforms are implemented. The uncertainty surrounding Brexit has also played a significant role in weakening the UK's economic stability. Trade relations with the European Union remain unsettled, affecting supply chains and increasing costs for businesses operating in international markets. These complications have exacerbated inflationary pressures and further weakened the pound.
Housing affordability has also worsened dramatically. Interest rate hikes have increased mortgage payments for many households, while younger generations are being priced out of the housing market. This has led to growing discontent and concerns about housing bubbles forming, which could further destabilize the economy if they burst. One of the sectors hit hardest by the economic collapse is manufacturing. UK manufacturing has faced recessionary conditions, with production declines largely due to higher input costs, labor shortages, and reduced global demand. This has increased the pressure on the UK government to intervene with stimulus measures to revive the sector. Government borrowing has surged to address these crises, but high levels of public debt are raising alarms about long-term sustainability. The UK's debt-to-GDP ratio is now at its highest point in decades, and concerns are mounting about the government's ability to service this debt without imposing significant austerity measures, which could further damage the economy. Despite these challenges, some economists suggest the UK might avoid a full-scale collapse if inflation can be brought under control and productivity gains materialize. However, without coordinated action on a global scale to address financial vulnerabilities, the UK remains highly exposed to another financial shock that could trigger a broader collapse. In addition to the broader macroeconomic challenges facing the UK, specific sectors of the economy are feeling the effects of the downturn. For instance, small and medium-sized enterprises (SMEs) are under severe financial pressure. Many of these businesses are struggling to secure loans as banks have become more risk-averse due to rising defaults. This has forced SMEs to seek alternative sources of funding, often at higher costs, which further erodes their profitability. In parallel, the labor market in the UK is showing signs of strain. Despite a low unemployment rate, job vacancies have started to decline and wage growth is slowing. This has prompted concerns about a cooling labor market that could lead to higher unemployment in the near future. With inflation outpacing wage growth, real incomes have fallen, worsening the cost of living crisis and reducing disposable income for millions of households. Another critical aspect of the UK's economic instability is the rise in public sector strikes. Workers across various industries, including healthcare, education, and transportation, have gone on strike demanding better wages to keep up with inflation. These strikes have disrupted essential services, adding to the economic woes and creating a sense of widespread discontent among the population.
Meanwhile, the financial sector, which was previously seen as a pillar of the UK economy, is now facing unprecedented risks. The City of London, which plays a key role in global finance, is vulnerable to market shocks due to its reliance on non-bank financial intermediaries. The Bank of England has expressed concerns over the lack of transparency in these institutions, warning that excessive leverage could trigger a financial crisis similar to the 2008 collapse. International trade has also been severely impacted by the UK's economic problems. The ongoing complications of post-Brexit trade agreements with the European Union have made it more difficult for UK businesses to export goods to Europe, one of its largest markets. This has led to a significant decline in export revenues, further weakening the UK's balance of trade. A potential collapse of the UK economy would have ripple effects on its international standing. The British pound has already been weakened by inflation and political uncertainty, making imports more expensive. This has forced the government to confront rising import costs, which has contributed to worsening inflation. Moreover, the UK's geopolitical influence is tied to its economic stability, and a collapse would diminish its role on the global stage. One of the UK's largest industries, real estate, is also at risk. Rising interest rates have cooled the housing market, and with property prices already declining in some regions, there are growing concerns about a real estate crash. A significant drop in property values could have far-reaching consequences, particularly for individuals and companies heavily invested in the sector. Adding to the complexity, the energy crisis continues to be a severe problem for both consumers and businesses. High energy prices have strained household budgets, while businesses, especially energy-intensive industries like manufacturing and logistics, are facing soaring operational costs. This has reduced their competitiveness and could force many companies to relocate or close. The UK's public services, particularly the National Health Service (NHS), are under tremendous strain as the economic crisis deepens. Funding for public services has failed to keep pace with demand, and the NHS is grappling with a severe staff shortage and a backlog of treatments worsened by strikes. The pandemic. This has led to a public health crisis, compounding the overall economic difficulties the country faces. In summary, while the UK has not yet experienced a full economic collapse, the signs of strain are evident across various sectors. Inflation, high interest rates, labor unrest, and the pressures on non-bank financial institutions all point to a precarious economic situation. If these issues are not addressed promptly, the risk of a deeper and more prolonged economic downturn will only increase. While the UK has not yet experienced a full economic collapse, the signs of strain are evident across various sectors. Inflation, high interest rates, labor unrest, and the pressures on non-bank financial institutions all point to a precarious economic situation. If these issues are not addressed promptly, the risk of a deeper and more prolonged economic downturn will only increase. The UK's public services, particularly the National Health Service (NHS), are under tremendous strain as the economic crisis deepens. Funding for public services has failed to keep pace with demand, and the NHS is grappling with a severe staff shortage and a backlog of treatments worsened by strikes. The pandemic. This has led to a public health crisis, compounding the overall economic difficulties the country faces. In summary, while the UK has not yet experienced a full economic collapse, the signs of strain are evident across various sectors. Inflation, high interest rates, labor unrest, and the pressures on non-bank financial institutions all point to a precarious economic situation. If these issues are not addressed promptly, the risk of a deeper and more prolonged economic downturn will only increase.
Thank you for watching, and don't forget to smash that subscribe, like, and notification bell for more global finance uncovered.